production.
Today we're northwest of Waseca by 9 miles on Reeds Lake Road. Right across the road is St. Jarlath's Church, if you ever wanted to come out to this plot. I know everybody's kind of busy nowadays, so they don't have a whole lot of time to come look at these plots, so I'm going to do a video plot today. This field was planted May 4th. We had 200 pounds of nitrogen put down before we planted it. We put down another 45 pounds in season. We put fungicide on twice, one at V5 and R1. Still have a lot of disease pressure in here for the amount of water and heat we've had this year. We've got plenty of disease. The first number we're going to talk about is 196. This is our 96-day corn. It's a little taller corn than I'm used to for 96-day corn, but the thing is, it's got an impressive stalk on it. Very big stalk. Solid standing corn. It's taken the disease very, very well, so I don't think this would have any issue planting it in some lower ground in order to get in there and after the frost went out in the spring. Blockier ear. It's in that 18 to 20 range. This one here, when we did a yield check, was in that 200 bushel range. A lot of guys ask me how we do yield checks. We pretty much just go out there, you count around how many rows you have around. Let's say this one's got 20, and then you count the length, how many kernels up, and I would usually stop before I got up to here. I stop right around there because those are kind of guessing ones. And then take the width times length times your plant population, and I divide it by 90. So if your plant, you go in there and you measure off 17.5 feet on 30-inch row corn, count how many plants you got. Let's say you had 34. You would take width times length times 34 and divide it by 90, and that's how I got up to the yield numbers that I estimated out today. I grabbed 3 or 4 different corns, cobs, and we did them, and then we came out with an average on them. We'll go down here to the rest of the Nutech numbers. As you can see, they look pretty. The corn over here on the right looks pretty decent. You do see there's some northern corn leaf blight in there, but overall, the fungicide's holding it pretty good. Our first number is the 5N 800. This is a new number this year. It was an experimental number last year, I think, and this year it is our full launch year. We had it last fall. We started selling it. So I do have some of this out around the countryside. This is a dual purpose corn. You can plant it for silage if you wanted. It's 101-day corn. It's got some drought resistance to it, so if we ever got into a drought again, which I'm sure one of these years we will again, this can take a drought very well. It's a taller corn. 14 around is usually what the width is on the corn, but what it makes up for is the kernel depth on it. So when you do a yield check now, it's kind of deceiving because the depth and the test weight usually bumps it up a little bit higher even yet. So this one here, yield checked out at 205. This one here is our 5L 701. This is another Aquamax corn. This one here was a newer number. It's been around for a couple of years, but it's actually been a really sturdy corn. This one here is a pretty decent standing corn, very low on disease pressure. That 16 to 18 around is what we came up with. This one actually yielded fairly good for 101-day corn. It was in that 217 range when we yield checked it. Next one is 601. This is a brand new number for us this year. It was an experimental number last year. Did very well in some of our side-by-side plots. It's a little shorter plant, a lot cleaner, stands very, very well. Average on this one was 205, but I think this has got one of those ears too that I think kernel depth will make up for it here. So, but a very nice looking ear, very consistent throughout the plot. Next one here is a competitor number. This is actually, I think, a pioneer number. This is in their 100-day range, I'm guessing. There's a little bit of tip back in here on this number. All in all, it's a decent looking number. It's in that 200 range. This one here is another competitor. This is actually a DeKalb number. This is in their 99 to 100 day range. Also, cleaner plant. Also, it's got a lot of leaves upright. A little more tip back on it also, but it's got a girthy ear on it. This is in that 200 ballpark. 5L 200. This one here is a good all-around stress corn. You can put this on corn. This plot has been corn on corn for 3 years already, so some of these varieties are really knocking it very well on corn on corn. This one here averaged at 215. Very consistent there. There's a little more tip back on it, but it's actually got some nice looking kernels on it. The 5L002, 102 day corn. This one here looks very, very nice. Very dark green, clean, a little bit on the taller side. But all in all, this is in that 205 range. And actually, I'd like to position this on my soybean ground versus corn on corn, but even in the corn on corn plot here, it's looking very, very well. Very dark green for the color. 5R502 is in the plot here. Very consistent corn. It's been around for quite a few years in the Nutech lineup, but it's been consistent. And that's what guys like to hear, is consistency. They don't want to hear the one-hit wonders and stuff like this, and this one here is consistent. Usually when you look at these plots, we strip back these front ears in the front here, and they're usually the biggest ears in the plot because they have the most sunlight. But this here is the same size ears all the way throughout the plot here. So I think that's where it comes with the consistency. Next we got a competitor number. This is a DeKalb number. I think this is our 102 day corn. Nice looking corn. Got some tip back on it also in that 14 to 16 around range. Estimated this one at 190. So a little bit on the lower side. This is a 503. This is our new number. Last year was an experimental. It was actually in this university plot here in Waseca, and it out yielded everything in their plot by about 30 to 40 bushels. I think it took all of their plots throughout Minnesota that they had it planted in. Very nice looking ears, 20 around, smaller kernel sets. Very nice looking corn all the way around. A little on the shorter side of life, which it looks nice that way. It's dark green, stands very, very well for the 60 mile an hour plus winds we've had here this year. We're gonna walk here with some soft shoes, but I think this one here is one we're gonna take a really good serious look at this year. That one was in that 250 ballpark range, which I had to do a count 3 times in order to see if that was right. This is a 702. This is a nice all-around corn for 102 day corn. This is the one I think I'm going to run with quite a bit here this upcoming year. For corn on corn, it's taken the disease very, very well. Standability is awesome. Kernels look great. The ear looks nice. Very consistent throughout the whole plant there. Once we get in there a little ways. This one here averaged 226. So we got a little yield bump out of that one. The 504 is 104 day corn. Another one that's standing very well. There's a little bit of goosenecking in there, out there a little ways, but other than that, it's standing very good. A little more tip back on this one than I've seen on the 503 and the 701, but all in all, it's looking very, very well. Yield estimate here was 205. I guess at the end of the day, when we do yield checks here this fall, we'll have a bare bones numbers on all these. And last but not least, we got our 806. It's 106 day corn. Little more wind damage in here. There's a little more goosenecking going on. A little bit taller corn overall. The ear set is a little bit higher too. But it looks very, very well, very good. This one here is in that 210 bushel range. So for 106-day corn, it's got a little yield bump there too. So it's got some potential to be some good corn. Well, that's our plot for Nutech. Once again, I know you guys don't have enough time to come out and look at the plots, but this is your way of looking at the plot without leaving your chair at home. Thank you.